Hi, I'm Mrs. Weissenberger, and today I am going to give you some tips on how to conduct a read aloud at home with your children. Now, I know many of you have read to your children many times, but today I'm going to talk a little bit about some specific tips that are a little different than just having a reading opportunity time with your child, but rather a time to actually use the reading to not only give them some enjoyment, but also to use it as a learning tool. So first of all, I'd like to talk about the first tip, which is preview the book. It's always a good idea before you read a book to your child, just make sure you read through it quickly. You don't want to be surprised by anything that might be in the book, and you want to be prepared for making sure that you're touching on a topic that would be of interest to the kids. Also, find a place that is comfy and warm and cozy and just a great place to kind of connect with your children, whether it's on the couch or on the floor on a beanbag or on the bed or in front of the fireplace. Just find a nice cozy place to read to your child. Also, take the time to look at the front cover with your child and make sure that you use the picture on the front to kind of elicit from them ideas of what they think the book might be about. This is a great time to make a prediction. Llama, llama, mess, mess, mess. What do you think this book is going to be about? What do you see in the picture? What do you predict might happen in this story? So take a time to really look at the cover before you even get into the book. Also, you want to make sure that you hold the book in a way that your child can actually access it. You want to hold it up. You want to read it by showing them the picture so that they're looking at the pictures as you read. This is a wonderful opportunity for them to be able to not just visualize more than what they see in the picture, but to be able to look at what does a character look like? What is actually happening? It just helps to kind of build that suspense for the child. Also, give it all you've got. You're going to have to make it fun for them. You want to change your voice, change your intonation, make it higher, make it lower. Maybe make the characters talk differently. Just be careful. You want to make sure the characters do have maybe a little bit of a different voice, but you want to make it understandable. But just make it dynamic, because I'll tell you, the more engaged they are in the story, the more they're getting from it. Also, you want to make sure that they can see the story. What I mean by that is having them use their five senses. You want them to say, what would you smell if you were in this story? What would you hear? What could you taste? What would you see? What would you touch? What would it feel like? You want to make sure you utilize the senses as you're going through the story. And then you want to make sure that you ask the kids some questions along the way. Wow, what would you do? What's happening here? What might happen next? But be careful, because one of the things that we get caught up in is asking too many questions. And imagine you're watching a movie, and every time somebody gets up to go to the kitchen, you have to stop it. And what are you thinking? Oh my gosh, I really want to know what happens next. But I'm waiting, right? Well, that's the same for kids. Every time you stop the story, it kind of changes the flow. So yes, do we want to stop? Absolutely. Do we have to stop for every page? No. Be selective. Also, give the kids something to do in the story. So for example, if I'm asking questions of the kids, or there's questions in the story, this might be a great place to stop and have them do something. So let me give you an example. In this story, there's lots of different questions. But for example, one question is, where is Mama? Well, you might have the kids say, every time you hear a question, you say what? So here's an example. Where is Mama? Say what? Where's the floor? Say what? So the kids are listening for something. Again, it helps with the engagement. And at the very end of the story, what you want to do is you want to have that discussion. Oh my gosh, did this end the way you expected to end? What did you think about the character? If you were the character, what would you have done? Where would you change the story? At the ending of the story, this is what happened. How could you make that ending different? So there's lots of ways to engage the kids at the end of the story and talk about it, and it can lead into other things, into writing or making their own story. I hope these tips were helpful to you. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.